Okay, so the title of the talk is a federal approach to honors, and the idea here is lessons that I've drawn out of how UH sets up its honors education, and learning from all of you about how honors education varies across the country. I want to give credit to my partners who helped put together the presentation. Where two of the three were able to make it to Denver earlier this year. Sarah Nospelius is the administrative director of our business honors program called Bauer Honors. Marcia Cowell is the director of our honors engineering program. And Sally Connolly is associate dean for our College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, which note it does not call her a director of a program, but I'll explain that in a bit. The background here is we all know that almost every conversation amongst colleagues across the country that we've been having, especially over the last few years, as we've been able to do it more often online, has been one that says there's lots of different ways to do honors. Most of the time what that has meant is honors has grown out of the context, the organic nature of the specific campus context in which it's founded, and the particular needs of a particular campus, and the history of when and how honors was created. And so as I've been listening to all of you about how honors works on your campuses, I realized that UH's system is a little bit different, like everybody's is. And as a political scientist, I finally came up with the idea that what we really have here is a federal system. I study American politics, and so when I say federal, what I mean is neither a unified centralized system nor a decentralized confederacy, as it were, but one that blends the merits of both. And so I'm going to try to keep my presentation relatively concise. Note I didn't say short, but as concise as I possibly can, and talk about what my perspective is on the models of honors education. And I might have missed some, so I'm really curious to see if people say, I don't see myself there. Talk about what the honors, very briefly talk about what the Honors College does and our partner programs across campus do in our particular federal approach. What I see is strengths and challenges for this model of honors education, and also maybe some things that others might expect if they were to have that kind of system on their campus. I don't think our system is unique, but I think ours is kind of rare, but I'm interested in the discussion to see if that inclination is held up by the evidence in this room. So the four models, as I understand them to be, are categorized here. We have the overlay model, which is to say a somewhat centralized honors college or program that has students from across the campus with majors across the campus, but their honors education is managed, if not housed, within the honors college. So of course they set up things like open honors courses, contract honors courses all across campus, but the structure of the curriculum and the co-curriculum and the various programming and administrative structure is all housed within an honors program or college. So that's my understanding of what I've labeled here an overlay. The second model, as I understand it, would be, I would classify as a freestanding model, one in which for more or less, and to a larger or lesser degree, students are honor students and not students of another department or college. So that in essence, you are majoring in honors, even if it's not called that. Oftentimes you either have temporary or permanent faculty and staff providing more or less the entire undergraduate educational experience to the students within the honors program, or probably in this case, honors college. The other presenter in the panel that we gave at in Denver was from FAU, Florida Atlantic, and as my understanding is their model is very much a freestanding model. Third is what I'm labeled here a decentralized model, one in which there are honors programs across a campus, often tied to a specific discipline, college, or department, in which those students are not meant, you generally would not interact with some central core of honors experience, but it's more tied to their discipline, their major, their college. And then finally, the federal approach, as I see it, at least at University of Houston, is sort of a blend between the first and the third. That we have both an overlay. Every one of the honor students at the University of Houston is also a student of another college: engineering, business, liberal arts and social sciences, global hospitality, leadership, nursing, et cetera, natural science and mathematics. And that we have our own curriculum. We also happen to have, I know not everyone does, our own faculty that offers, and we have co-curricular programming offered by faculty and staff, advising student organization. I'll show you some more here in a second. But then we also have a growing list of honors programs across campus that are not at all competing with the Honors College. If you are a member of the Honors College and you are in a business major, you are also a member of the Bauer Honors Program. Similar in engineering, and as I'll show you, we're working on a similar partnership with the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences. So to give you some sense of what that looks like in terms of the breakdown of what as a student and scholar of American politics I would call checks and balances, sharing of power, separation of powers kind of thing. I'll quickly go through this slide. Here are honors at UH dates to the 50s. The honors program that is the legacy of our current honors college was started in 77, became a college in 93. The programs that have emerged at various points in time, organically, really, with good leadership and good partnerships between the Honors College and their partners in each of their respective colleges, with Bauer Honors, the Business Honors Program starting in 2002, engineering in 2010, and we're currently planning, probably in about a month, we'll change that to 23, planning and very beginning stages of scratching the surface on the liberal arts and social sciences program. So in each of those cases, Honors College takes the lead on recruitment, admission, orientation. We have an honors retreat before classes start each fall. We have our own advisors, but so does Bauer, the Business Honors Program, but Engineering Honors does not. Each organization has its own student organizations. We have a curriculum that starts with our signature human situation freshman experience of 10 hours. We have co-curricular offerings. We host 7 interdisciplinary minors, but there's a curriculum associated with the disciplines with each of the disciplinary honors programs. We all, in one way or another, offer co-curricular programs. I've listed primarily the ones in the Honors College there. And then a piece of that, both tied to undergraduate research and mentoring for nationally competitive scholarships, the Honors College hosts really the campus-wide office for both of those things. So the Office of Undergraduate Research and Major Awards mentor students both inside and outside the Honors College, so including the students of the honors program. But remember, those aren't separate students. If you're in the Honors College and you're in the disciplinary program, if you're in the disciplinary program, you're in the Honors College. Quickly thinking about some of the strengths and some of the challenges. I think one of the advantages, as I see it, of a federal system is it allows us to naturally think about how to ensure that the honors experience is a 4-year experience. You know, we are lucky, although luck created by a lot of hard work over a lot of decades. We are lucky that we're well resourced, and I feel very fortunate to work in a place where that's true. So that's a bit different dimension of what it requires to get a true 4-year honors experience. But part of it means that we can do through partnerships and maybe even warm handoffs, we can make sure that there is an honors experience each and every year available in each and every major, especially in those colleges where we have a partner program. Now, we try to do that best we can where we don't have an honors program through open honors and through petitions, but it does make it a little bit easier when we have disciplinary programs out there. I think one of the things I hear honors folks all across the country talking about is the need to build friendships and allies across the campus, because frankly, honors is weird. And it doesn't fit into the neat categories of boxes, including budgetary boxes that the rest of the departments and colleges fit into. And so by having partners across campus, we also build knowledge and allies when those opportunities for persuasion exist, if you know what I mean. And then finally, I think it leverages resources as a strength, right? Even the most supportive provost or president for honors is going to have to make very difficult choices. And if we're going to continue to extend and expand opportunities for students, if we can draw upon not only the resources of the honors program or college, but also appeal to deans and department chairs across campus, then these close partnerships become a way to make sure that can continue to happen. In terms of challenges, I think part of this is communication complexities. There are more people in the Honors College. You have to talk to more people that are faculty and staff and the programs across campus to make sure that nobody's left out of the loop, that changes in one place don't negatively affect changes in others. And we have to figure out how to make the complexities of a federal system fairly transparent and navigable by our students. If you've ever tried to figure out whether to call your city council person, your state rep, or your congressman when you've got a pothole outside your house, you know what I mean by that. Obviously, that's a fairly simple one. It's the city council, unless it's a state-owned road or it's a federal highway. So it gets pretty complex from the perspective of students there. Navigating turf politics, I think, is one of the challenges. I think that's true even without a federal system, but who pays for what when is one of those things. Who gets to decide what when is another one of those things. And even now, as we're working on building through class honors, liberal arts and social sciences, a program there, figuring out, given that some of the honors colleges faculty teach in the humanities and social sciences, and of course the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences teach theirs, who gets to decide who gets to use what prefixes and offer what courses when. I think you have to be very intentional in building and maintaining positive relationships, because it is too easy in a university, which I think these days are naturally siloed, to want to dig in and protect turf. And so as a result, that can lead to competition of resources. It can lead to issues of quality control, who gets to decide what honors means, and how do you resolve when there's a difference of opinion about what honors means. In the US federal system, we've spent 200 years deciding what the power of the federal government is vis-a-vis the states, and the reverse. And it is a very similar kind of ongoing discussion, I think, that has to happen between honors and partner colleges in a federal kind of honor system. To wrap up really the presentation, I was asked to talk about what to expect. I think you don't, it is hard for me to imagine a situation where you end up with a federal system all at once, equally well developed across the colleges on your campus. That our example is one in which there was organic growth over, as I showed you, 20 years with 3 colleges so far. And that was really based on partnering with the willing. In some cases, more than willing. There were people in other colleges saying, we want more of this because we see its value. How can we partner together? And there's the unwilling, right, that are not yet convinced of how honors can fit into the education of their students, where they're trying to do specific kinds of things with limited resources, as we all face. There's, I think, the need for ongoing education of our colleagues across campus is not particularly unique to a federal system, but is definitely true of a federal system. Even if it comes down to, well, why should we allocate all of these resources to a relatively small share of students when there are other students who, quote, need help more? I think going back to the strengths of having friends and allies, there are people that are convinced of the arguments that we make as leaders of honors programs in colleges. But just because a dean of engineering or a dean of business is willing to financially support an honors program in their college now doesn't mean that the next dean will continue to prioritize it the next way. Similar with department chairs, faculty, even advisors who might say, hey, the best straightforward path to medical school, for example, is take your biology classes, take your chemistry classes, or whatever they are, and honors will unnecessarily slow you down or hurt your GPA, things that we know are not true, but it requires us saying so because there is turnover. You also have to give up some control. Back to the quality control issue, we have to trust that the directors and other leaders of the honors programs know who the good teachers are, who are the people who will take an honors approach to teaching an engineering class or a business class or a health and human performance class, if we're talking about liberal arts and social sciences. Not everything is able to come from the dean's office or from the faculty and staff of the Honors College under this kind of system. I think you also expect to make, I'll call it unique deals, right? We have our own advisors in the Honors College, but Bauer Honors has its own advisors, Engineering Honors doesn't. Why? I don't know. It's how it got worked out when it got worked out. The situation in which there is in engineering a core set of curriculum and classes across the majors meant there could be an easy cohort created of honors engineering students from the moment they stepped on campus and all the way through their degrees, at least until they separated off into their specific majors. Well, how do you do that in the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, which is our largest college at the University of Houston, but one that is 14,000 students and 14 different departments ranging from English and history to political science and sociology to health and human performance. I don't even know all them off the top of my head. So the solution of how you build a partnership will vary through this kind of organic growth of a federal system. Finally, I'll say, is this the best of the 4 models? I have no idea. I think the best model is one that fits the campus culture the best. I think this one has grown organically and it fits our campus culture quite well. There's some real value, but there are some real challenges here. My guess is there are many other campuses where it would fit terribly. I know we serve our students well, and I like the effect that I've come to call the federal system has on our ability to do so. So that's my spiel.